Hello, hello, friends. Cassandra Joan Butler, along with you with Cosmic Connections. And it's Wednesday, and it's 8 o'clock, and I've missed you. We have a lot to talk about today. Um, it's just been kind of an interesting couple of weeks for me. I wonder how you all are doing. If you're like many people I've spoken to, it feels as though the holidays just came upon us almost instantaneously. And, we are in the midst of that flurry and that franticness. And the astrology in the next few weeks is asking us to slow down a bit. So I'm certainly going to talk about that. Hi, Joan. Missed you all. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, you all. Debbie and Maria and Chris and Debbie. Great to be here as well, Jill. I've really missed you guys. I took a little time off to spend some time with some family, and that was a wonderful thing. And I had a little surprise visit, which I'll talk about in just a minute. And we are on the eve of the gibbous phase, my dear friends. So what does gibbous means? We have this big, beautiful full moon coming up this weekend, but the time right before the full moon is extraordinary. It's called the Gibbous Cycle, and it gives us an opportunity to kind of tweak our intuition. It's almost as if I call the Gibbous Cycle, which starts tomorrow at 4:50 in the morning on the 16th of December. I call the Gibbous Cycle the Santa Claus, the psychic Santa Claus phase of the lunations. Why? Because the moon keeps on gathering and growing in light, and we are unconsciously, or perhaps consciously, observing that growing moonlight, and we're waiting for some form of illumination or revelation, and it occurs at the full moon. All right, so between now, I'm sorry, 5:40 tomorrow, technically, that's when Gibbous starts, and the full moon of Saturday, the 18th. I'm doing all of this in Eastern Standard Time. The full moon is at 11:36 p.m. Please be open to spiritual revelation. Allow the downloads to come through. Trust your intuition. Remarkably trust your intuition about things, because I think the year ahead, 2022, will be the year of intuition. Lots more on that as well. Hello, 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 dear ones. I've missed you, and great to see you tonight. And I hope you're getting excited about the upcoming holiday season. Maria, I am very sorry. Her brother passed away suddenly the end of November. This is a community as well, my dear friends. So please, if you would, let's throw our loving prayers and energy to Maria Corey Pecora as she is going through her grief, and her family's going through its grief, and her brother is going through his transition. Really, I'm very sorry, Maria. So we are going to do some healing exercises online for the holiday seasons, because I've been a little distracted lately. I haven't been as focused with my, shall we say, my offerings to you. But if it's convenient for you all, join me on solstice at 11 in the morning, because the exact time of the Yule or winter solstice will be taking place at 11 a.m. That's Eastern Standard Time. All right. In any case, I much love and light to all of you, dear friends. So sorry for your loss. And I know everyone is behind me with this healing prayer for you, Maria. So I want to talk a little bit about my time off. Again, initially 2 weeks ago, I was off just to spend some time with family. And then I had a little visitor. I get emotional talking about this, but here's the one question. It's very personal, but here's the question for the week. I realize what I'm about to say is maybe not typical of an experience of a visit from COVID. Yes, I am part of the statistics. I had the visitor from COVID, the big V, and it was fine. It was absolutely fine. But I want to tell you my experience with it because I think I learned so much, and I want to share that learning with you. Because I know some of you, I'm sure, have suffered and have experienced. When I use the word experienced, the pandemic du jour of the past 2 years. Now, um, in simple terminology, number one, I'm absolutely fine. Number two, you're looking at the face of a statistic. I can't tell you, and I think some of my story might be familiar with some of you who have navigated the big V, but this is what happened. I had a little scratchy throat, and number one, it was, a little troubling, but I never get sore throats, right? I am kind of like a V advocate, right? I take so many Vs every day, thanks to people like, I do reading, right? I'm not a doctor, and I'm not telling you to do what I've done. Please don't do your own research, but there are wonderful sites online, like Americans Frontline Doctors, like the American Doctors and Surgeons Associations.org, that have given wonderful treatment options. But I've always been a supplement person, supplements and eating right and eating well. So the scratchy throat started, and I was like, uh-oh. Then the second symptom was a discomfiture, a discomfiture. Now, I'm always testing. I feel that's an obligation. I see people all the time. I'm always testing myself, whether it be the drive-through or that little box you can get for, you get two for $25. So I took one of those home tests, and when I saw that line, materialize, I was gut smacked. And, friends, I have had a diagnosis of the big C, okay? That wasn't the big C, all right? And I'm recovered from that C. That's been years ago. That was a piece of cake with the terror that I experienced when I got the diagnosis from that little box and those little lines with the little C. I didn't think it was terrified of anything, but I was. And then the third thing that came into my mindset was, oh my gosh, who gave this to me? Who gave this to me? Not where did I get it from? Not what happened. Not did I, stumbled on an orange grove in Wegmans. No, there's no orange groves. You know what I'm saying? Did I just pick? And someone even asked me, well, who gave it to you? And I said, the air. Nobody gave it to me. Nobody came up to me and said, here, have a V. And then I started doing a lot of meditation, a lot of reflection, a lot of real deep musings about this experience. And I came to the conclusion, and I've talked to some of my spiritual friends in different spiritual organizations who said and concurred the same thing. There is so much unconscious archetypal fear attached to this that there's almost a convoluted evil darkness about this diagnosis like I've never experienced. And I've had my share, and I'm sure you have too, of all sorts of maladies, right? You get kind of shaken when you get the big C diagnosis, and that was a piece of cake from the terror I was feeling. Now, the good news is, with all of my many Vs, all of those gargling and swabbing of my nostrils with Zicam and all these wonderful concoctions I did, I was, quote, indisposed for about 48 hours. Some body aches, 99-degree fever. It went up to 100 once. And I was fine, and I am fine, and I'm fine. Knock on wood. I am filled with antibodies. Yay. But what I'm trying to communicate to you, my dear friends, is that I have never experienced such bone crushing terror for something, in my experience, that was not difficult. But I will tell you something else. When I first got that testing diagnostic, my first reaction, I think I neglected to tell you this, was resistance and disbelief, and saying to myself, "Nah, that's an incorrect test." And I also was saying to myself, "Oh, that can't be." Denial, denial, and what I've come to believe is that a lot of people had the same experience. Some very close people to me, very close friends, when they first get the big diagnosis, they are thrown into this terror of denial, and that they not are achieving or aggressively treating it. And in the very beginning of this pandemic, you might recall, they always said, well, just stay at home and treat. But how do you treat? There are treatments out there, my dear friends. And I did everything that I read about and learned about, and I was right on it. And I am feeling so grateful, because I know that not everyone navigates from point A to point B and are okay. I understand that. I certainly understand that. But if you happen to know anyone who comes down with this very different type of disease, please intervene and implore them to get early treatment, whether it be at home or elsewhere. It's important. It's so important, because I was stunned at my consciousness. It was in denial. It was terrified. And in that moment, I didn't know what to do. So I'm also sharing this with you because there's an astrological edge to it, or a learning lesson to it, right? And here's the learning lesson. This occurred during the solar eclipse at 11 degrees of Sagittarius. Now, that was on December 4th, friends. And I was so disappointed because I couldn't teach that class for you. But if you want to go back, and what I'm about to talk about in the next week is relevant to what was happening on December the 4th at 12 degrees of Sagittarius. So here's a quick lesson with the eclipses. An eclipse, whether it be a lunar eclipse or a solar eclipse, we see this beautiful body in the sky, a light in the sky, and it disappears. And can you imagine our forefathers and foremothers watching the lights going out in the sky and having absolute terror that the sun or the moon was going to disappear, and yet the sun and the moon always appears back with time? So the solar eclipse at 12 degrees of Sagittarius was both squaring my vitality planet, my Mars, and my moon at the same time. So if you are a mutable type, if you are a Virgo or a Pisces or a Gemini or a Sagittarius, the past couple of weeks may have been a little bit more volatile for you. And I'm not saying you would have had the same exact experience as myself, but you may have had something that was shattering and sudden. And that's the essence of an eclipse, especially a solar eclipse. Something comes out of the blue, it takes your breath away. And then with some patience and with some faith, because it is Sagittarius after all, things return back to solid ground. All right. So how interesting is that? Mutable. Rhonda, this is for all of you. A mutable sign are the signs which I'm going to refer to now. One more little teaching moment. Virgo, Pisces, Sagittarius, and Gemini are mutable signs in the lexicon of astrological 12 signs. In other words, the signs that are changeable, they're mutable, and they always occur at the end of one of the seasons. So we're now in Sagittarius. We're technically, my dear friends, wherever you are on the planet, we are in what's called the last vestiges of fall. We're not in winter yet, right? Winter begins at winter solstice. And so there's similarities with the mutable signs because they all are changeable, and even the weather is changeable wherever you may be on the planet with these mutable signs. So this solar eclipse in Sagittarius was the last gasp of a solar eclipse of a cycle that was born in the May of 2020. Involving mutable types of energy. Now, mutability is also communication and dissemination of ideas. Mutability is the way the mind works, and routine and rhythm. Mutability is about going with the flow, and even in our physical bodies, right? So mutability for Pisces, for example, is the immune system. For Gemini, mutability is the lungs. Mutability for Sagittarius is movement, being able to be free and to move about. And Virgo is the digestive tract, the small intestine. So all of these signs, where they fall in your chart, may have been eclipsed of the time of December 4th. Something may have disappeared, and you go through this archetypal transition within inside your psyche, and you might become frightened or afraid or concerned, and then you come on the other side and everything's fine, and your worst fears are allayed. So that was my experience. But I want to emphasize, when I spoke with some of my dear friends, for example, one woman from the Buddhist tradition was talking to me about one of her teachers, one of her lamas, who was saying, indeed, that this particular disease carries with it a signature of great darkness attached to it. And we know that there have been many mutations of it, and we know that there's many. This is not conspiracy theory at all, but a lot of speculation that there was some sort of manipulation of the original protein signature. And if indeed there has been manipulation of this particular disease, this novel thing, then why wouldn't it reflect the collective fear body? Again, astrology 101. Remember, all of this started in 2020 when we had Pluto, Dr. Death, holding hands with Saturn, which is limitation and difficulty and authority. So all of these fluctuations of all of these, let me get the right word here. All of these indications I experienced, and it was quite indeed a great experience for me to observe this. And I'm going back to those three aspects. If you know anyone who has this diagnosis, please implore them not to ignore it, and to get early treatment, and to psychically, if you can't physically, or spiritually, if you can't physically hold their hand, reassure them. There is help, and there's treatment at home, and there's help and treatment elsewhere. So that's my 2 cents about the very powerful eclipse that was squaring my moon and my Mars, and I am very grateful. I'm extremely grateful. Okay. I'm just looking at the comments. Yes, Mary experienced some of that. Chastity, if your birthday is on a solar eclipse, i.e. your son's birthday, that's often a very life-changing year ahead. Okay. Yes. Okay, so Ron understands that. A lot of changes. Okay. Hi there, John. Hi, Tracy. Gemini here, you felt that very much. Okay. Thank you, Jojo. Hi, Kathy D. Okay. Yeah, all is good. Yes. Yes. Bone-crushing, gut-wrenching terror. Thank you, Rebecca. Yeah. And when I was experiencing this, I was like, again, I know I might not be typical, friends, but if it didn't have a name, it just would have been a 30-hour, I'm staying in bed and sleeping it off a little bit because I'm tired. It was a big nothing for me. But again, I had tons and tons of vitamins and supplements and other wonderful interventions. And so I'm very grateful. So as we go forth, let's talk about some other fear that you all may have been experiencing in the past week, not related to the eclipse. We have Pluto in the sky next to Venus. I've lost so much to cover tonight. Pluto in the sky right next to Venus, close to the degrees of the great transformational year of 2020. And when Pluto, remember, Pluto's like Dr. Death, and he's the grumpy old man of the Godfather. And Venus is all the things we love. Venus is money. Venus is love. Venus is food. And with those two planets coming together in a conjunction in the past week, they're moving apart slowly. It's almost as if nobody was feeling safe. At the height of the terrible tornadoes in this country, the Venus-Pluto conjunction was occurring. Talk about the terror of living through a tornado. And unfortunately, and sadly, maybe not living through a tornado. So a lot of us collectively are also butting our consciousness against that fear, not just from the V, but from natural occurrences. And so it's been quite a week. It's been quite a week. Let's talk a little bit more astrology, friends. Again, tomorrow at 4:50 in the morning, we have the Gibbous Cycle. Please turn on your psychic meters, okay? Because during Gibbous, during the days before the moon is exactly full, we are more open and aware for downloads and intuitive thoughts, and our dreams are a little bit more succulent. They're able to give us more guidance. So be aware of your dreams in the next couple of days. The Sabian symbol is a vast public park. The interpretation of that is collective enjoyment. As we approach the holidays, no matter how you enjoy the next week or so, or three, think about the collective enjoyment of joy. And this particular movement in the next week, number one, the moon is going to be trining or supporting Venus. So we're going to be saying to ourselves, I have to pick the best of what gives me joy and leave the rest. And we're going to be building on what really matters to our lives, building on the things that make us humanly joyful, whether it be a Christmas cookie, whether it be a Christmas card, or rejoining with a loved one. We have Venus also trining the moon, Venus and the moon trining Pluto. So take the best and leave the rest. We also have Mars conjunct the North Node. Mars conjunct the North Node. I'm so sorry. Mars is conjunct the South Node. I did not see my symbol properly. What that tells us, this is a time between now and Christmas. It's a time to let go of anger, a time to let go of the past, and to forgive and forget. Truly, friends, we will have celestial help to help us forgive and forget all those slights, all those terrible words from all those terrible people in your past. And we all have those people. We all have those people inside, taking up space, taking up rent inside of our heads. I've been done wrong by those people. Let it go. Because Mars is asking us to take action to really release the philosophical underpinnings of being done wrong. That's a good suggestion for you. We also have our beautiful Neptune opposite Psyche. So I can't say enough about your own psychic meters being triggered this week. Trust the intuition. We also will have the North Node, which is still in Gemini. We are just weeks away from the great nodal shift, when what we will be talking about won't be talking. We've been talking and talking and talking and talking about all this data collection and who's right, who's wrong. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? If you've done the V for the V, that makes you a good person. If you haven't done the V for the V, that makes you a good person. And then we have this Gemini division in our brains. Good, not good. That's my friend. That's not my friend. We've all been living under this polarity in the past year and a half. That's the big virus, you know. Let's separate. Let's divide and conquer each other, right? We have a different opinion. Well, we don't want anything to do with them. But no, there's nothing like adversity to bring us all together. So, whoops, look how the moons move. As we move into the nodal shift of Taurus and Scorpio, and I'll be doing lots of classes and offerings for you about that, my dear friends, the consciousness and the collective begins to shift in mid-January. And guess what we'll be talking about? We won't be talking, we'll be doing. We'll be doing things that create abundance, security, and joy in our lives, and taking care of finances, because Taurus and Scorpio is all about the allocation of resources and building a more perfect and collective world where everyone is matters and where everyone can take care of their finances. But in the meantime, in the North Node, we have Black Moon Lilith, that pesky, feisty energy that is often about revelation, is conjunct Ceres and conjunct the North Node. So Black Moon Lilith is like a spy, right? She's in Gemini, and she's floating up against the North Node, and she wants to reveal truth that may have been hidden for many, many, many moons. So what happened in the news today, which is just one little snippet of one story, but those of you who remember the assassination of John F. Kennedy, I do. I was in kindergarten. You realize a whole generation of people will be soon not with us in the next few years? That was 58 years ago, friends. 58 years ago, where the United States suffered such a wound, and leading up to the astrology, of course, with the assassination of its president, JFK. Today, the National Archives released more documents, 1,500 documents that had been under wraps for 58 years. And I found that very interesting as I tie this into the movement on Sunday, when Chiron, the wounded healer, starts to go direct in the sky. So for all of us, pay attention to what is the number one wound that you want to help heal in your life. Okay? In the US chart, Chiron is in the sign of Aries in the fourth house. And now, the orbit of Chiron is about 50 years. So 58 years ago, it wasn't 50 years ago. But the point is, that's always been a wound within the centerpiece of the US chart. So as Chiron moves forward in the sky this weekend, it's going to be a big weekend. Pay attention to what thing you have been working on, my dear friends, in your psyche that's been a festering wound. And I'll share something else, because I do like to share about my life, so it gives a context. One of my wounds as a person is that when people ask me how I am, I usually say great, right? I'm great, because I'm of that age where I'm always great. I'm not always great, please. That's what's so great about having survived all these seas in my life, right? Knock on wood. I don't take anything for granted. I'm pretty healthy. I'm very healthy. But when I'm not great, it's because the people around me aren't great. And those people include furry friends. Just stay with me for a minute. And most of you know me. I'm very close with my family, my two wonderful grown children, my sisters, blah, blah, blah. My friends. I love everybody who's my close-knit circle. And who's in my close-knit circle? Teddy the dog. Teddy the dog, Honey the dog, Kyle the cat, Jasper's the cat. And did I miss one? Gatsby. Or is it Simba? No, Simba's in heaven. Anyway, I've got a lot of animals. But this Chiron, right? So this Chiron's in retrograde. Chiron equals our wounded healer. Chiron going forward in the sky is going to identify your particular wound. So find where Chiron is at 8 degrees of Aries. So it occurred to me, I had a Chironic experience right before I got to meet with you guys tonight. It's okay. It's okay. It's a happy story, happy ending. Little Teddy was at the groomers. And by the way, this is a fantastic groomer. I will never mention anyone's names, but and her scissors slipped, and I say Chiron, the scissors clipped his tongue, and my beautiful little 13-year-old puppy's tongue started to bleed. If you have an animal, you understand the anguish I was feeling, because this Chiron's on my 7th house cusp, and I was horrified. And Teddy's okay. I took him to the vet. He's okay. Knock on wood. He's going to survive. It was an emergency call. His tongue is going to heal. He's not going to pass away from this accident. But I realized I had done a healing event back in 2018 on September the 30th weekend. And I did that Chiron healing retreat up in the Niagara County. And that was congruent with an emergency with Teddy. Teddy had an emergency attack of bladder stones. And I was like, oh my gosh, look how that chart works for me. When Chiron goes direct in my chart, it means Teddy may have an emergency. The same thing happened. So this is the beautiful wonder of astrology, right? So knock on wood, Teddy's going to be okay. But for all of you, pay attention to what is the wound that's going on in your life that you need to work on. And in my case, maybe it's just trusting the doctors, right? I like want to pass out when my dog has a little, incident. God forbid, a drop of blood coming out of their bodies. I give so much credit to vets and to nurses and to doctors. Oh my gosh. So that's my Chiron story. Chiron moves forward in the sky on Sunday, and Venus goes retrograde. She will be retrograde until 1/29 of next year. So the lesson for all of us is pay attention to what matters in your life. Number one, Venus is matters. And also, she's retrograding in Capricorn. Pay attention to the people you love and respect whom they are, whatever they may want to do about the bigger issues in life, and give them the leeway and the respect they deserve, because you want the same respect. I say that because we've been living under this polarization of each other in the spiritual dimension of putting people into boxes and separating each other. And as we approach the holidays, please understand that Venus is retrograding in Capricorn, so we have to put our big girl pants on and our big boy pants on and respect differences. I've heard this time and time, and I have experienced it. People putting people into boxes because they may not have gotten the V for the V or whatever. You know what? Respect each other's differences. That is the spirit of Christmas. That is the spirit of Christmas. That is the spirit of Hanukkah. That's the spirit of being a human, of respecting each other. So no more divide and conquer as we approach this beautiful gibbous phase. The full moon takes place at 27 degrees of Gemini. That's on Saturday at the galactic center, my friends. So center yourself and try to figure out what gives you the most joy in your life. The Sabian symbol is through bankruptcy. Society is giving to an overburdened individual the opportunity to begin again. So there's a lot of beginning again energy that's happening with us in this next week or so. All right. So I want to do some spiritual work, and we are moving right along here. I have so much to talk about. Let's do the, I'm writing notes as I'm talking to you. I forgot to do this. I beg your pardon. I'm telling you, my Chiron story threw me for a loop. My little Teddy is going to be fine, but I want to reiterate for us all where 8 degrees of Aries falls is where you will be able to identify what needs to be healed in your life, right? What will be healed in your life. Okay, so that is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, friends, for the week ahead, if you are an Aries, you're going to be doing a lot of intuition and downloading information about your abundance and about how you want to create more financial freedom in your life, how you want to maybe make new gains with your money and make new gains in loving yourself, self-esteem. For Taurus or Taurus rising, this Gibbous cycle is activating you and yourself and your charisma. Stand up for yourself. Be happy to be who you are. Allow the stubbornness to be there, but also allow the beauty and the love and the sharing as well for our Taurus friends. For Gemini, this particular Gibbous cycle is asking you to really pay attention to your intuition, to your dreams, and really trust the preparation it takes to become a lot more psychic. Do your meditation, do your retreat work. For Cancer, friends, groups, and associations will be activated for you. For our Leo friends, your job and your career will be activated quite a bit, and you'll be able to take more of a leadership role. For Virgo or Virgo rising, anything having to do with expanding your travel, expanding your marketing, expanding your reach. It's all about expressing yourself, Virgo. For Libra, this particular energy is asking you to get very clear in the ways you want to transform your life. For Scorpio, your partnerships are coming into full view. How can you help them? And how can you help yourself become a better partner? For Sagittarius, take care of your health, take care of your wisdom with your work, and pay attention to your self-care. Capricorn, play, and allow the inner child to come out and have fun. Aquarius, pay attention to what you want to do to improve your family situation. And last but never least is our Pisces. You are going to use this gibbous energy to reorganize your time and your space. Alrighty. Let's do some drawings. I forgot to remind you guys, please share. If you have enjoyed this, please share this on your page. And when you share, your name goes into my basket. And the winner of today's drawing is Maria Serafino. Maria Serafino. You will be winning a transit report. And thank you so much for sharing, Maria. Okay. Thank you for sharing, Paula. Thank you for sharing. Okay. Now I'm going to do the spiritual work. And the spiritual work is simple. Let me know if you'd like to get a read. Put it in the comments, and I'm going to do 2 quick meet and greets from Spirit. And then I'm going to be going on to the CIA page at 9. So I'm on a deadline here, friends. A couple more things of note. We are getting into the year of healing of 2022. I'm going to be doing a whole series of classes. The first one is on Saturday from 1 until 3 through the Lilydale site. So if you want to get a heads up, we'll be at 1 o'clock. I'm going to be doing that with Patricia Bell through Lilydale. You can contact me for more details. I'm going to be doing a whole series of classes through the end of the month and also in January. And I will be giving coupons out for people who attend my classes like I've been doing for 20 years for the year ahead. Number 3, join me at 11 a.m. on Tuesday for a free Facebook, YouTube, some winter solstice meditation. Okay. All right. So tonight, dear God, please allow me to serve. Please allow my words to be filled with love and light, truth, inspiration, and healing for the highest and for the best as we align ourselves to the Holy Spirit. Hi, Rhonda. My finger stop with you. Rhonda Burns. Rhonda Burns. I would like to come to you, my dear. Rhonda, as I'm tuning into your energy, I'm feeling that I'm almost seeing a prickly feeling on my back, like I've been doing too much, and I'm feeling uncomfortable in my own skin because I've been doing too much. It's not an ache or a pain. It's almost a sense of just bristliness. And Spirit is reminding you, Rhonda, that I'm getting the image of the shoulders. You want to drop the load off your shoulders, okay? And just spend some time in your favorite chair, listening to your favorite music and resting and breathing. It doesn't have to be a formal meditation, but the idea here is just to kind of go into a space of renewal. I'm also getting for you, Rhonda, a beautiful woman from Spirit, and I believe this was a grandmother, and she had short, kind of page boy, kind of gray blondish mixture hair, and it kind of went under like this, and very beautiful eyes. And she was petite, and she was feisty, and she lived. She said she's went through a lot of ups and downs with her health, but she kept on going because she loved her family so much. And she's saying you have the same similar qualities as she has. She was very faithful and a very spiritual woman. And she's reminding you to keep Jesus in the season. She knows that you are, but she's wanting to just give you that the reason for the season, but she's eclectic. Okay, so it's like bringing in the Jewish tradition, bringing in the Christian tradition, bringing in the Buddhist tradition, but she's saying the spirit of the season is what matters. And she's showing me these little fruit bars, cookies. All right, thank you, my dear. Thank you for being here and being such a faithful observer of this. The next person I'm going to go to tonight is Anne Marie. Anne Marie, as I'm with your energy, I want to say this to you. It's almost like I want to catch my breath because you have been on the fast track, and maybe there's been actually some congestion or some breathing issues with you, my dear. And there's something about an exhale that there was someone closest to you. It feels like it was a male that you were very concerned, you were very worried about, but he's going to be fine. And Spirit is reminding you not to lose yourself for every emergency that comes its way, because it takes a toll on you. It feels like there's been 4 people in the past year and a half that you've been a red alert with, red alert. And I'm seeing some furry friends with you, Anne-Marie. Okay, some doggies and so forth. They're 2 furry friends, Anne-Marie. There might be a kitty cat and a dog, but they're about the same size, so this would be a small dog. And I'm not sure they're in spirit. I think they're in spirit, but that you may be missing or wanting to reconnect with the animal friends in this world right now. And you might be contemplating getting a pet, and this might be a good time in 2022 to have a new furry friend is the gift I'm giving for you. All right, dear friends, I'd love to spend more time with you and soaking in the ocean. That's true. That makes sense. I really, 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 really wish for you a magical holiday season, and use the energy of the Gibbous Cycle and use the energy of the full moon cycle this weekend to identify what gives you joy, what gives you pleasure, what gives you love in your life, because we are rounding the bend and we're heading for a very new year with new opportunities. Okay, enjoy your week, and I will see you next Wednesday, God willing. Thank you, and good night.